Hey guys, welcome back. Today's video is going to be a makeup tutorial using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Prism palette. I picked this up during the Sephora VIB sale. This is the first time that I'm using it and I absolutely loved it. This look can be very appropriate for the holidays, more towards New Year's Eve. I think of New Year's Eve, I think of silver, I think of blues, purples, smokiness. That's the kind of look that I typically like to go for. If you like to add a glitter to this look, you can, but I really did want to stick solely to the Prism palette. So this look doesn't necessarily have to be a New Year's Eve look. It could just be a going out look anytime that you wear purple or black or anything. I want to take this time to let you guys know that I am planning on doing a Q&A. Since I have been away for so long, I want to do a Q&A for you guys. That way you guys, if you're wondering what I've been up to or just want to get to know me a little bit more. I have a lot of new people here with me on my channel, so please ask me questions on, it could be beauty, fitness, nursing, and even questions about my personal life. I want you guys to know more about me, and I want to start being a little bit more personable here in my videos. So even if you have multiple questions, leave them down below in the comment section. I will be happy to answer them. Before we get into the video, I want to remind you guys, don't forget to subscribe if you aren't already, and hit that bell button down below. Every single time that I upload, you will get a notification. But enough with the rambling. If you guys would like to see how I created this look, then just keep watching. Alright guys, so the first thing that I did was apply my primer and foundation. The primer that I used was the Touch in Sol No Poreblem primer, and then the foundation that I used is Tarte Rainforest of the Sea in the shade Light Medium Sand, and I applied that with my Eco Tools beauty sponge. And then next we are going to apply our concealer. I am going to be using the Wet n Wild Photofocus concealer in the shade Light Medium Beige. So I've actually heard a lot of great things about this concealer. I heard that this is a dupe for the Tarte Shape Tape. You guys know I love Shape Tape, so personally I don't agree with that statement, but I do think that it is a great medium to full coverage concealer. I think it's more on the medium side, but you can build it up. So first I'm just going to tap it out with my ring finger just to kind of work the product into the skin underneath my eyes, and then once I feel like I pretty much blended out the entire thing, I'm going to go in and do some touch-ups with my beauty sponge. So now that we applied our concealer, we are going to set it right away, and this looks like Laura Mercier translucent setting powder, but it's not. It's actually the RCMA loose powder. I just ran out of my Laura Mercier, so I decided to transfer the product into this container because I hate the pepper shaker container that the RCMA loose powder comes in. So this makes it a lot easier for me to dip my sponge in and then apply it to the under eye. You want to set your concealer right away so it doesn't crease on you, at least as much as you can help. And then if you feel like the product is already creased, you can tap it out real fast before applying the setting powder. I love this technique of applying loose powder underneath the eyes with the damp beauty sponge because it really just gives you a very flawless and airbrushed effect underneath the eyes. So now for the star of the video, we are going to be going in with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Prism palette, and this is what it looks like on the inside. It is so stunning and I can't wait to use it. So the first shade that I will be going into is Lure, and it's this mauve transition shade right here. And I am going to be taking the Morphe E22 blending brush. So immediately it is super pigmented, as you guys can see. So I'm just going to kind of pack that on the outer corner at first and then work it into the crease. Be sure to take your time when it comes to blending. I am guilty of being super impatient and just slapping color on in the crease and then moving on to the next shade. But if you really want a blown out blended look, then you really do have to take your time with this. You want to use a light hand. You don't want to press super hard. It's going to kind of create the patchiness, and we definitely don't want that. I am going to be taking a smaller, denser brush and apply it in a more concentrated way. That way it'll kind of appear as if we used a darker mauve shadow, even though we don't have that in the palette. So as you can see, it's already applying pretty pigmented and much darker than the first attempt at applying it on the outer corner. And then when I'm applying it in the crease, I'm applying it a little bit lower than the edge of where the shadow originally was blown out to. Just by sitting down today and playing with this palette and creating a look for you guys just reminds me how much I miss filming. But I do have a lot of ideas for holiday looks, so if you guys have any specific requests for holiday looks regarding Christmas or New Year's or any other holiday look that you would like to see, please leave them down below, and I would love to kind of see if I can create a look for you guys, especially ones that you definitely want to see. Then if you feel like you need to blend out a little bit more, go back in with your original brush with no more additional product with a very light hand and blend just the edges, not what you just applied. For this look, I really do think that I want a black base to make it look very smoky and kind of make the eyeshadows pop a little bit more. So I'm going to be using my NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in the shade Black Bean. This is an oldie but a goodie, guys. If you need a black base, use this because it's creamy, and if you use something like your gel eyeliner, it kind of gets stiff on the eyes, and I would say only use that if that's your last resort or your only resource. But this is extremely affordable. It doesn't really crease on me as long as you keep it on the lid. I'm going to apply it just to the center of the eye. Keep it below the crease. Get it as close to the lash line as you can. Oops. But don't transfer it on your bottom. So I'm actually going to use the flat end of the brush that comes in the palette, and I'm going to use that to kind of work that black base all over our lid. So I'm just going to wipe that product off of the brush, and then I am going to go into Osiris first. And I'm actually going to apply it in a halo technique, so I am going to apply it to the outer corner and the inner corner. I would say out of all the shades, Osiris has one of the drier formulas. It has a very strong black base with purple and magenta glitters. So I'm going to do my best to leave the center blank. I don't want to put Osiris there because I'm going to be putting a different shadow. It's okay if you get Osiris a little bit in your crease because we are going to blend it out. I'm actually going to take my ring finger and use the shade Dimension. It's a very pretty pewter, silver, purpley color. So we're putting it on the center of the lid where we avoided putting the shade Osiris, I'm sorry. Then kind of working it back and forth between the edges of where Osiris ended and where the blank spot is now. I didn't put any more shadow on this eyeshadow brush, but I'm just using it to gently go back and forth between those two shades to blend it out. That way there's no harsh line between where one ends and the other one starts. So now I am going in with the Sigma E25 blending brush, and originally I have no product on here at all. I'm just kind of buff out what little shadow we did get into our crease. Then I am going to go in with my Sigma pencil brush, and I'm going to go slightly into Obsidian, which is this black here. I'm going to apply that on the outer corner very, very lightly. I'm going to go back in with the Sigma E25 blending brush and very carefully work that into the center of the crease, but I'm not going to bring it all the way in. I'm going to go in with Lucid right here. This reminds me, I want to say, of Voltage from Makeup Geek, a shadow that I absolutely love. We're going to put it on the inner corner, and I'm going to bring it up into this area of the eye where we tend to have a lot of darkness if it's not properly concealed. I feel like applying it on the inner corner then bringing it up really opens up your eyes. Then I'm going to apply it very lightly on the brow bone. So since we already applied our concealer and our loose powder, I'm actually just going to go ahead and finish up the under eye. So I'm going in with the Morphe E36 pencil brush. If you guys can see, this is my, this one right here is Sigma, and the one next to it is Morphe. So for anyone that feels like a pencil brush applies too thick of product underneath their eyes, check out the Morphe E36. It's really good for that. So I'm just going to start off with Lure once again and apply that to the lower lash line. And pretty much with every single one of my eye looks, I like to take the eyeshadow and connect it from the outer corner all the way up to the outer end of where our eyeshadow ends on our upper lid. There's not just an awkward gap between this eyeshadow and this one. So the gel eyeliner I'm going to be using is the Maybelline Eye Studio one, and this is in the shade Blackest Black. And I'm going to be adding a drop of Inglots Duraline. I'm sure you guys have heard of this before. You get to use only one drop of it for any of your cream products that are dried out. Alright guys, so I applied my mascara, my liner, and my lashes all off camera. The mascara that I used is the Maybelline Lash Sensational. I have raved about this all across my channel. And the lashes that I used were the Ardell Studio Effects Wispies. Those are my favorite wispies that they make. First, I am going to apply my highlighter. The highlighter that I'm going to be using today is the Desi x Katy Dose of Colors highlighter in Fuego. Fuego is a very golden highlight, absolutely stunning, makes your cheeks look wet, not sparkly. And I'm using this because it's very golden, and the highlight that we used from the palette is golden as well. So I like to apply it obviously on the tops of the cheeks, and then I like to also bring it on the sides in like a C shape. So I kind of highlight this whole area, but I make it most intense right there. So this way, for you oily skin girls, if you are wearing a more matte foundation and you still want to look healthy, applying your highlighter here and down will make your skin look super healthy and glowy without having to wear a luminous foundation that will just make you look like a slime ball by the end of the day. And this brush is the Morphe M310. The reason why I applied my highlighter first is because oftentimes your highlighter can look like a streak if you apply it last. So I like applying it first to help with blending. So next I'm going to be applying the ColourPop X Alexis Ren bronzer in the shade Golden Moment, and it's the Topaz Duo. Mine actually fell apart, so this is what it looks like. I would highly suggest the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer in the shade Bronzer, because there is a light bronzer, but I think that that would be a little bit too light, at least for my liking. But I don't have that on me right now. It's not as orangey as this one. This one can definitely pull a little orange if you're too pale, but it's kind of what I have to work with. And the Physicians Formula one is a lot more neutral. I definitely need to pick up more products for when I'm on the paler side, like now. That's okay, we'll make it work. We'll just blend it in really well. So I'm actually going to take a big fluffy brush. This is the Morphe G7. It's my favorite powder brush. And I am going to buff that bronzer in. Buffing this in is going to make it a little bit more wearable. And I always do this when applying my face products because it makes everything just look more airbrushed. If you applied a little bit too much, then you can kind of wipe it away, blend it out, and you can never go wrong with this step. So I'm actually going to go into the Maybelline New York Master Bronze Face Palette, and I showed you guys this when I did my drugstore haul way back when in the summer. And this is where I've gotten with the palette. As you can see, I did use a lot of this bronzer. It is a good bronzer for light, medium, and lighter skin tones. If you're darker than that, then this really wouldn't show up on you. But I did really like it. It's just now getting kind of like a hard film. So I'm still able to use this. I just have to use a very dense brush to pick it up, and also a brush that's small enough to fit inside this little pan. A little update on this highlighter. It's one of my favorites ever from the drugstore. I know that's a huge claim, but if you are fair-skinned, try this. It is so beautiful. Just look at that. It is stunning. So underrated. I'm telling you guys, you will not be disappointed in this highlighter right here. But the reason why I pulled this out is because I'm going to be using this shade to contour my face. This is a lot more neutral. So I'm going to take this with my Morphe M557 brush, and I am going to apply it where the hollows of my cheekbones would be if they extended that far. But I like applying my bronzer first and then my contour. That's usually how I like to apply it, just because it kind of acts as a transition and helps the contour blend a little bit more. So finally, the last step that I have been doing is, after applying the highlighter, then the bronzer, I'm going to then go in with my blush and apply it in the middle. So the blush I'm going to be using is the Maybelline Fit Me in the shade 45. It's a very pretty purpley toned blush. I'm going to start on the back of my cheeks and then bring it forward and kind of just apply in circular motions, and also apply it to the temples as well. I really like just bringing all of my face products with the color portion, just bringing it all together so it's not just a streak on your face. I like the way that it helps my particular face shape. My face shape is very round, so I feel like applying the more dimensional types of products here kind of slims it out a little bit. So now we are going to go in with lips, and of course I'm going to do a nude. I have really been loving the MAC Japanese Maple. It is a cream sheen. It does apply pretty sheer, but it gives you a beautiful hint of pink on your lips. My lips always get extremely dry, especially in the winter time, and these products that give you a sheen really help to make your lips look moisturized and juicy. And that's what we want. Alright guys, this is the final look. I hope you guys enjoy the way that it turned out. It's very smoky, but also very wearable, because I know we did use purple. To kind of summarize my experience with the Prism palette, I loved it. I think it's beautiful. I love Dimension. It took this eyeshadow look to the next level. Absolutely love this shade. I think that Lucid applied beautifully. Lure was very smooth. Pretty much had no fallout this entire eye look, but you always do want to make sure that you don't pick up too much product on your brush, and to make sure that you don't, always tap it off on your palette and you're good to go. If you do experience fallout with any shadows, even with this palette, then you can always apply the eyeshadows first and then your foundation afterwards. Let me know if you guys do decide to try out this look and pick up the Prism palette, and let me know your thoughts on them. Also, if you do try out this look, please tag me on Instagram. If you haven't followed me on Instagram yet, I do link it down below. If you aren't subscribed already, be sure to hit that subscribe button, as well as the notification bell, to make sure that you are notified every single time that I upload. I want to thank you guys again so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.